a hand-holding guide to planning the end of your pet's life. Stop. I know you read this title and you attempted to turn and flee back out the door. I anticipated this and I caught you by the back of your shirt. We do need to talk about this. Nobody wants to dwell on the end of your pet's life, but this is stuff that you need to know. And the earlier you know it, the more it's going to help you. And you will need help because it is one of the hardest things that you will ever have to do. But there are steps that you can take now, which is going to make it easier later. I promise to make this discussion as brief, honest, and detached as possible. We've written maudlin tearjerkers about pets before, but I swear this is not going to be one of them. I'm not going to weep at you. I'm going to explain this to you like I would any other topic. I have worked with animal rescues my whole life, and I have chosen to specialize in the care of senior animals. So saying goodbye is a skill that I have intentionally developed. And I am genuinely happy to get to share the summation of all of that experience with people who need it. Joining me today is my oldest dog, Brother. Brother is dying. Not right now, but sometime soon, probably, and that is okay. We are as prepared as we can be, and if you read this, you will be too. He might get up and move at some point, and I'll help him off the bed. That's fine. I'm not his son. At the end of this, there will be a handy checklist for your convenience. If you do everything on it, you will be as ready as you can be for the end of your pet's life. Many of them are actions that you can start taking long before your pet even starts to go gray around the muzzle, so don't put off reading it. This article was originally written when Jess and I were both navigating the end of a pet's life. Life simultaneously gave us lemons, and this guide was the lemonade that we offered to you. Because this has remained one of our most shared articles of all time, we've decided to present it again in both audio and video formats to make it as accessible as possible. It's been lightly expanded since its original publication, integrating some great comments and feedback we got from readers, including both pet owners and veterinary professionals. Why does this feel so hard? If you read this blog, you are likely Gen Z or millennial. They are the largest pie slice of animal lovers. 1 in 3 of them owns a pet. And our attitudes about pets are really intense. Half of us describe loving them more than our own mothers. And all of these pets are doing the absolute worst thing that any pet can do, which is getting older faster than us. A lot of our readers are just too young to have experienced being solely directly responsible for managing a living being's decline and death. This is unfortunately a task that you will gain experience with as you age. It'll never get easy, but it will become a more familiar kind of hard. The first thing I'll tell you is that it is okay to feel any kind of way about contemplating the end of your pet's life. You might feel like there is a vast ocean of grief inside of your chest waiting to burst out and flood the world. You might feel numb or even dissociated, and it's not because you have failed to feel your feelings correctly. We don't really get to choose how we respond to stress. You might feel relieved. End-of-life care is stressful, messy, and expensive. And you may have had to put your life and priorities on hold to make space for your pet's needs. And it is okay to feel glad to get to the end of a challenging ordeal. In all likelihood, you will cycle rapidly through all of those feelings several times a day. The fact that it is hard to name and process those feelings is proof of their rarity and depth. Snack break. Fresh. Give me that paw. Good boy. Touch. Touch. Good boy. Who can I trust to help me make this decision? A good vet is worth their weight in gold. And the more time that they have to get to know your pet, the more accurate their instincts will be. Bye. Continuity of care is a great asset. The vet who met your cat when she was a friendly, healthy 8-year-old can more accurately spot the subtle changes that might indicate renal disease when she's 12. And when that cat hits 16, you will know that they have her best interests at heart if they advise you to consider end-of-life planning. Longtime readers know I love adopting senior animals. The only drawback to that is that you've got to learn to say goodbye more often. I have been present at the deaths of over a dozen animals. In time, I have come to value two traits very highly in a vet: clear communication and good listening. Hi, want to come back? I'm pretty steadfastly committed to quality over quantity. My vet hears and understands that and guides me towards options that fit the goal of optimal comfort, even at the expense of longevity. Now, veterinarians are people. They are not all the same. They have different strengths, professional perspectives, and emotional availability. I've had the experience of surrendering a pet for euthanasia into the hands of some random person I didn't know because the situation didn't offer me another choice. It's horrible. Regardless of their qualifications, a stranger just won't feel as comforting as a trusted advisor. So find that person now and build a good relationship with them before the going gets tough. Is euthanasia the right way to end your pet's life? As your pet ages, it's time to get comfortable with the idea that they will die and they will likely need your help to do it. Euthanasia is a peaceful, painless death under controlled circumstances. The word literally means a good death. After a lot of personal experience, I have come to believe that it is your final duty to your pet and a deeply loving parting gift to give to them. Natural death sounds nice, but it isn't. The longer you live, the more likely you are to see death and dying up close. If you have, you already get what I'm saying. If life hasn't presented you with the opportunity yet, I'll try to sketch a meaningful summary. When I was in my 20s, I visited a human friend who was dying in hospice. He was a relatively young man in an excellent facility under the best care possible. He was also skeletal, delirious, and unable to speak, eat, walk, or control his most basic bodily functions. I did not recognize him, and he did not recognize me. I know how painful it is to see someone in that condition. I cannot imagine how painful it is to be in that condition, and I don't doubt that he was confused and afraid. I would not wish that kind of agonizing end on anyone. One of the hardest pet deaths that I witnessed was a natural death. One of my elderly chickens developed ascites, which is a fluid buildup from heart disease. I don't know if I'm saying that right. We'll find out. She went downhill during this wet, miserable blizzard that made travel completely impossible. So I weighed two possibilities: bringing her out into the howling cold with an axe, or bringing her inside to slowly suffocate by the fire. Right or wrong, I chose the latter. I sat by her side for 4 hours, and with each labored gasp, I agonized. Is this what's right? Is this what's right? That's why I say that euthanasia is an incredible gift. If left up to nature, the final stages of life are rarely painless or quick, but they can be with your intervention. You can help your pet pass with peace and dignity. It's just going to suck for you, because by taking all of that pain off of them, you have to accept it onto yourself. How will I know when to stop trying other treatments? To some people, euthanasia feels like giving up. It's not. Giving up means surrendering yourself to doing whatever is easiest. And this is not easy. If you've chosen to pursue euthanasia, it means that you have decided that not even death can stop you from doing what's right for your pet. That is fighting, not quitting. But here's something important for you to understand. Many vets will not bring up euthanasia as an option until you do. I had a guinea pig who lived to a ridiculous 8 years old. When I found him collapsed and semi-paralyzed after a stroke, I called my vet hospital and spoke to whoever was on call. You could bring him in for some x-rays, or we could send him to our partner hospital for an MRI. Depending on the results, we might be able to try steroids or diuretics or... And then she paused meaningfully, waiting for me to ask the obvious. This is not necessarily their choice. Certain states, professional organizations, and clinics or hospitals demand that vets offer all treatment options regardless of how they personally feel about them as part of their standard of care. I'm warning you about it because it can feel confusing if you're not expecting it. Here are some questions you can ask your vet to get to the heart of the matter. How do you expect an animal in their state to progress from here? What specific developments would indicate it's time to consider end-of-life planning? If this was your pet, what would you do? That last one is the most valuable question I have ever asked a vet. Good vets are not trying to upsell you on more procedures or give you false hope. They are very invested in balancing human feelings with animal welfare. You just might need to give them the space to be frank with you. What if professionals don't agree? It can be disorienting if you see multiple vets that don't agree on what the best course of action is. If you're getting conflicting information, I would usually trust the vet that has known your pet for longer or the more general veterinarian. Hopefully that is the same person. This is not a universal truth, but I have noticed that some medical specialists tend to view the animal through the lens of the possibilities of their own specialty. For example, a veterinary oncologist's whole job is to fight cancer. If you ask them what you should do for your senior rabbit with uterine tumors, they're going to think of all of the tools and methods that they have at their disposal to fight cancer. In my experience, your family vet is a little better positioned to consider the animal's struggles in the context of their whole lifetime. You can ask questions like these. Do you think more treatments offer a meaningful chance of recovery? Would further interventions make them more comfortable or merely extend their life? Can you describe all of my potential treatment options and leave me some time to reflect on them? One more thing you should consider is that humans can understand medical intervention and can consent to accept the drawbacks and side effects. Animals cannot. They don't know why you bring them to the vet or stuff pills in their mouths or put cones on their heads. Most animals will experience that as you inflicting suffering on them without a reason they can understand. I feel that pet owners have a duty to factor that into their decision making. I think it's totally fair to ask animals to suffer if the treatment will protect them and give them lots of good quality time. But if the odds of a good outcome are slim, I think you should consider prioritizing their peace. What if euthanasia isn't the best option, but the only one I can afford? Ooh boy, I'm going to give you my best speech on this heartbreaking situation. Your cat or dog or horse or bearded dragon is going to die, just like I'm going to die and you're going to die. Everything that has ever lived on this planet will die, and no amount of intervention will ever change that. My favorite part about owning animals is that they pull me into living in the present moment. They do not ruminate on the past or the future. They don't know what they're missing out on. They only understand what they are experiencing right now. In the past several decades, we have unlocked incredible technological innovations for diagnosing and treating diseases in animals. That knowledge is a burden on you alone. Your cat does not know she could be going to cold laser therapy twice a week, but your cat absolutely knows if you're stressed out, up late, and gone long. If you pick up extra shifts to earn more money to get her the best possible care, she will not understand it or thank you for it. She will only be sad that you're sad, confused about why you keep leaving, and unhappy to be held down by the very nice cold laser therapy tech. If your pet could speak, I think they would tell you that what they want most in life is your presence, your happiness, and your love. As long as all of their basic needs are met, it is okay to not put yourself into 5 digits of debt for extraordinary medical interventions. Use a small fraction of that money to buy whatever treats and toys they like, or take a few days off work to spend time with them. Live in the present with them and guide them to a peaceful end when the time comes. That is enough. How will I know the time is right? In many cases, I have found animals will give you a clear sign that they are ready to go. You will find your fastidiously clean cat sleeping inside of his litter box, or you will offer your very food-motivated dog a bite of something delicious only to watch her turn away. In these moments, your pet is giving you the gift of clarity. Whatever made them is slipping away. And if your vet has done all that they can, it's time. Better a month too soon than a day too late. I've heard this one so many times when talking about pet euthanasia, and it's true in my experience. You want to maximize the time that you have left, but terminal illness can go downhill so fast. It is a delicate balance. The key thing that I want you to consider is that when you wait, you run the risk that their final hours might become terrifying for both of you. You can squeak out a few more good days, but you might wake up in the night to yelps of pain or cries of fear because their bodies are shutting down and they're hurting and afraid. It's traumatic, and I just don't want that for any of you. Anyone who has seen both sides of this will tell you to err on the early side. What if my pet doesn't give me a sign? Some animals truly have no quit in them, and those situations are hard. There is no right answer, but I will tell you the process that worked for me when I faced this situation. Several years back, I became the caregiver for my grandfather's Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Her name was Lexi. Lexi inherited a 400-year genetic legacy of indomitable happiness and also mitral valve problems. Her heart disease was well managed with medication, but as I grew to know her, I realized she would never give me a sign. Stress and pain were simply not a part of her vocabulary. So I asked my trusted vet to explain the typical progression of symptoms. They were a persistent cough, decreased ability to exercise and play, fainting spells, swelling from fluid in the lungs and abdomen, increased coughing and panting even at rest, disinterest in food, difficulty breathing, death. I wrote these symptoms down, and I drew a line through them that I would not let her cross. Abdominal swelling would be the beginning of serious discomfort. That meant that I was waiting for fainting as my sign. The first time that she collapsed, I scheduled her final appointment and focused on giving her the best 36 hours of her life. How can you judge quality of life? If your animal, like Lexi, only has one health problem, you should have a pretty clear roadmap. But sometimes that's not the case. This is my eldest dog brother. He turned 15 years old recently. Although, who knows, he could be older than that. He was rescued as an adult, so who knows? He is the first animal that I chose for myself and my husband's first ever dog. He has been a foster brother to countless other dogs, cats, bunnies, guinea pigs, chickens, and one very confused pigeon. He protects us when we're in the bathroom, and he instinctually stands guard over babies. He is brave and adventurous and loyal, everything that a good dog should be, and he is incredibly special to us. He's also at the end of his life. He has multiple synergistic comorbid health problems. We have been warned that when any one of his diseases progresses, it'll take the others down with it. In cases like these, knowledge of your pet's personality is critical. What makes this animal happy to be alive? I'm sure you know that answer better than anyone, so let it guide you. In Brother's case, he stopped eating on his own almost a year ago, and normally I would classify refusing food as a sign that the end is near, as my other dogs would knife me in the street for a stale Cheerio. But Brother has never been food motivated. He's always been a hard keeper made out of popsicle sticks. He is a ranger, he's a guardian, and a full belly seems to just slow him down. He loves to go for walks, yell at the mailman, chase varmints out of the garden, and defend the weak. We have developed a system to manage his health issues for now. He gets pilled 3 times a day on pills that I have to cut into cockamamie shapes because he is exactly in between dosage sizes. My vet taught me how to give at-home arthritis injections. He's on prescription food, which he hates, but will dutifully eat it one kibble at a time because he knows that I want him to eat it. It takes over an hour each day to get him to eat a few hundred calories. He has to be carried up and down the stairs, on and off beds and couches. Admittedly, it's a lot to handle. And I know people see how pitiful and frail he looks, especially when he's forced to eat, and they think, that poor dog. But when I shower, he still hauls his old bones up to stand guard outside the bathroom door. When I touch his leash, he leaps around like a happy little deer. We had the first snowfall of the year, and there are skid marks in the powder where he tore around after a rabbit. So despite his struggles, he's still him. And as long as he shows the spirit to keep doing the things that he loves to do, we will help his body keep up. And when it can't, we'll be ready. For animals like Brother with complex medical issues and advanced age, quality of life assessments are a really big help. They will help you identify areas where your pet is falling behind in quality of life and highlight areas where they're still going strong. There are a lot of them. You can find some easily by Googling around, but they seem to go offline a lot. So to make sure that our readers can always access a good one, I'm going to make my own and upload it to our Patreon. You do not have to be a Patreon donor to get it. I'll make sure it's available for free. It's just the most convenient way to share downloadable files without crashing our site. Some calculators are solely focused on the pet. I like ones that also ask questions about how you feel. If keeping your pet alive has you in a state of total overwhelm or anxiety, I think that should be a factor in considering how much longer you want to try to hold on. What should I do before the end of my pet's life? Forewarning is such a blessing. If you know that the end is coming, you can have so much fun giving your pet the best days of their lives. In Lexi's case, we knew we were on borrowed time for about 4 months. I came up with a bucket list of all of her favorite activities. She got huge meals topped with extra tasty human food every day. I let her play fetch until she was ready to keel over. We saw all of her favorite people. She got to sit in their laps and be showered with attention. The dog park, the beach, the McDonald's drive-thru. Much as her dying pained me, from her perspective, life was perfect. Knowing that made it easier to release my sadness. Brother fulfilled his bucket list items months ago. Our vet warned us in early spring that his end was probably near, and it's the week of Christmas when I'm recording this. So I guess the extra attention and love and treats and adventures seem to have been the best medicine for him. So that can happen too. Sometimes the end comes too abruptly for this kind of planning. Sometimes you wake up and they're just gone. Your pet may decline physically or cognitively past the point of savoring their once beloved activities. Nothing hurts like the regret of love left ungiven. I hate knowing that a pet's final day was unspecial, but you don't always know that it's coming. So my best advice here is to make every day special. Live while you are alive. Go for that walk in the woods today. Let them sleep in the bed tonight. Fill your phone with pictures and videos. Live here in the present with them. The happy memories that you make now will give you solace in grief later. Tiny note here, don't go full throttle into a pizza and ice cream diet, even if they're dying. The last thing that they need is gastrointestinal distress. Personally, I keep the regular kibble or whatever flowing and give special stuff as toppings and treats. Consult your vet if you're not sure about what's best. What are my options for pet euthanasia? For euthanasia, you have 2 main options. Number 1 is to bring your animal to the vet. In my experience, scheduling hasn't been an issue. Even busy clinics will make time. Most have a special room. It's quiet and private. You will pay in advance so that you aren't sobbing at the checkout desk. They will give you options for what you want done with the body. And after everything's settled, the vet will explain the procedure and give you extra time before or after if you need it. When you're done, you usually just leave. Consider asking a close friend to drive you home from the appointment. Driving and weeping is not my favorite combination activity. Option 2 is to arrange for an at-home euthanasia. This may be the right choice if your pet dislikes going to the vet or is too unwell to travel. People who pursue this option swear by it. I will give you 2 caveats. First, it is more expensive. And second, it is a very in-demand service. They may not be able to come immediately, and some of them have a wait list. So make those inquiries now so that you have the information that you need to have a strong plan and have a backup in mind in case it just doesn't work out. They are both excellent options. It is up to you and your pet and their situation and your budget to decide what's best. What are my options for pet burial? Okay, what about your pet's body? Here you have 3 main options. Number 1 is to surrender the body for a communal cremation. Some people do not feel driven to hold on to their pet's physical remains, which is perfectly fine. In this case, the vet will deliver your pet's remains to a crematorium. They will be cremated alongside others, and their ashes will be mixed together and scattered or buried, usually in land owned or leased by the crematorium. Option 2 is to request a private cremation and receive your pet's ashes back. This one costs more money, but if you would like to keep a hold of their physical form, it's a great option. Sometimes the crematorium mails the remains directly to you. Other times they are dropped off with your vet, who will call you to let you know that they can be picked up. The turnaround time is pretty quick. It's usually less than a week. The result will be a wooden box that feels small but heavy. In my personal experience, I've always been pleasantly surprised by the thoughtful packaging. The boxes have a little door that can slide or screw off if you want to open it up and scatter those ashes. Option 3 is to bring the body home for burial. Burying an animal at home is both affordable and cathartic. Obviously, it does require a few conditions. First, you should own that land. Please don't bury pets in the yard of some rental property you will leave when your lease is up in May. Second, plan your spot carefully and read up in advance on how to do it. You need to dig quite deep, and the last thing you need is to hit a natural gas pipe. Third, have a backup plan if your pet passes during severe weather. Don't try to dig frozen or flooded earth. Again, there's no right answer. You will just have to feel out whatever is best for you. What's the end actually like? I'll describe what actually happens during a typical euthanasia. It is done in 3 steps. First, your vet will shave part of their leg and insert an intravenous catheter. Vet techs are very experienced with this. They can do it very quickly and painlessly. They might take your pet into a back room to do this part. Second, the vet will administer a sedative. If your pet is fearful or in pain, they might sedate as the first step. After this, they will fall asleep almost immediately. You can usually hold them through this part. In fact, I recommend physically supporting their heads and bodies, especially if your pet is quite old and frail. They might be asleep before they have a chance to actually decide to lay their head down. Third, when that sedative has taken full effect, your vet will administer a fatal dose, usually pentobarbital. It's a rapid anesthetic, which is so powerful that it halts breathing, circulation, and the brain all simultaneously. The vet will then listen for a heartbeat to confirm that they have died. After that, they will usually quickly leave the room to give you privacy. To clarify, your pet is already completely unconscious. They will not feel anything at this point. There are 2 surprising things that might happen to you that you should know about. You might be shocked at how quickly these drugs take effect. I have been told it can take a few minutes, which might depend on the size of your pet. In my experience, it has never been more than 30 seconds. It is very fast. Additionally, some pets display reflex actions. They may take a deep breath or twitch their limbs or void their bowels. I've personally only seen an animal react like this once when I was present at the euthanasia of an animal who was relatively young and strong. All of my senior pets have fallen asleep as instantly as a light switch being turned out after the sedative and peacefully remained that way. But it is good to be prepared. They are not in pain. It's just electrical currents, just bodies being bodies. What if someone mishandles my pet's body? A lot of people have dark fears around what happens to their pet's body. They worry that their pet will be thrown around, or that the ashes they receive won't really be theirs, or that they'll end up in a landfill. These are understandable fears. Here's what I'll say to put your mind at ease. I have heard the stories of bad actors in this industry. They are definitely the kind of thing that keeps you up at night. Do not seek these stories out. They will just get into your head. But I have also read many interviews with pet crematorium operators that make their dedication crystal clear. Here is one snippet from a Reddit AMA that really put my heart at ease. Taking care of your pet's remains was actually an honor. Death is something I'm really passionate about and have never taken lightly. A lot of us would give them pats and tell them they were loved, even if we weren't asked. We were their caretakers when their families couldn't be there, and it was not something to be complacent about. And here's another. Individual cremations are strictly individual. I swept out the previous pet before placing in another. The entire body goes in, including anything the pet had on or in them at the time. Usually collars stay with the pet, and I leave them in case the owner ever gets curious and opens them up. They will see the burnt remains of the metal dog tag that is still readable and know it was their pet. Also, steel hips, dogs get them too. I never rush a job. Never, and I'm proud of that. Nobody loves your pet as much as you do. Nobody. But also, nobody enters the veterinary field because they hate animals. Every person in the chain of custody of your pet's remains is an animal lover, and you have to trust that chain. How much does pet euthanasia cost? Okay, so the price depends on a lot of things, with cost of living in your area being a major one, but I will give you a rough idea. Generally, the euthanasia itself costs about $150. If you want at-home service, I would expect to pay about 3 times that amount. Cremation services are highly dependent on communal versus private options, as well as the total size of the animal. So a 10-pound cat with a communal cremation is probably not more than $200, while a 150-pound Great Dane with a private cremation could cost $400 or more. To give you an idea, Jess paid for at-home euthanasia for her 75-pound dog plus private cremation for a total of $650. So if you want to set up a savings goal for handling the end of your pet's life, my ballpark recommendation is to set aside around $500. This will creep up in the future if cost of living continues to rise, but it gives you a rough estimate. What if I can't afford it? If money is holding you back from seeking a compassionate euthanasia service, please call your vet and explain your situation. Many vets will offer this service for free if it prevents unnecessary suffering for a long-time patient. At the very least, they will be able to recommend community resources or alternatives to lower the cost. In this, the darkest timeline, money is a sensitive matter for everyone. The amount of money that you spend at the end of your pet's life says nothing about how much you loved them. So don't feel pressured to spend more than you can afford out of fear of disrespecting your pet's legacy. I assure you, your companion only cared about the love that you gave them while they were alive. Their bodies are simply what is left behind. What happens after? Well, you're gonna cry. Just so much crying. Out of respect for the mental health of my veterinarian and her staff, I do my very best to wait until I am home to do the kind of keening and wailing that feels so cathartic and so right. But once I am home, it's like Moses unparting the Red Seas, coming out of my eyeballs. My only recommendations for this part is to let it all out and take Tylenol. Grief can make a body surprisingly sore, and studies have shown that acetaminophen actually helps manage the physical pain of grief. Take a few days off from school or work if possible. Just vaguely say a death in the family to avoid the possibility of some fucker scoffing because the family in question was quadrupedal. If your pet was on medication and you have auto ships coming up, go ahead and cancel those now. Ask your pet for help distributing any remaining meds to those who need it. As long as the meds were stored properly, they will gift them to another patient who needs them. I have been the recipient of those donations as well as a giver, and it makes me feel really connected with my community, and it reminds me that life goes on. Cleaning feels terrible, but it helps. If you have unopened food, bed, toys, collars, anything that can't be used by other animals in your household, drop them off at a local shelter. They will be used and loved by those in need. My foster bin is full of stuff that was donated by grieving families, and we use it all. And those donations indirectly help us spend less on supplies and more on saving lives. It is very meaningful. Your vet and or crematorium may send you a condolence letter. The first time this happened, I thought it was another bill and I cried. Then I opened it and read the nice messages and I also cried. So by warning you, I'm saving you one whole cry. When Lexi passed, the note contained a set of her nose and paw prints. I was shocked in a good way because I really recognized them and I felt gratified to have one more memento. After a pet dies, I make a post to my social media to collect the memories of others. Invariably, I learned something that I didn't know. When I stayed at your place, I woke up with her purring on my chest. When he came to our house for a barbecue, I dropped a burger and he ate the entire thing before I could stop him, and I never told you. Here's a selfie that we took that I never posted. Soliciting those stories helps my healing process. Also, it gives everybody a heads up that, I'm not going to be very emotionally available for a bit. The last question. Every death is hard. I have had animals who left abruptly without giving me a chance to say goodbye. I've had others who lingered for years in a cycle of rallying and sickening. The first kind spares you labor and anxiety in a drawn-out health battle, but the grief really hits you like a truck when you are completely unprepared. The other asks you to dig deep and give every ounce of your focus and patience to sustaining them, and your only reward is watching them get weaker. One is a shit sandwich on wheat, and the other is a shit sandwich on white. Different deaths elicit different emotions, especially if the circumstances make you front load or back load the brunt of that grief. Lexi's death hit me really hard. It was only afterwards that I realized I had only had her for 3 years. In my heart, she was a 3-year-old dog, and I just wasn't done loving her. And my grief for her was mixed up with my grief for my grandfather, who had entrusted me to this thing that he loved most in life. I wailed like a banshee. I ranted about how unfair it was. Why can't one happy little dog get an exception? I don't know exactly how I will respond when brother dies, but I think I will feel less robbed. He's been with me for a decade and a half. I am confident I gave him a life that he loved. I can see exactly how far his physical body has deteriorated, and I will not get greedy. I will not ask him to stay longer than he wants to. When I am deep in the depths of grief, there is one question that guides me forward every time. This question is like that first golden ray of sun in the morning. It is the question that transitions me from mourning their loss to celebrating their life. Here it is. Was it worth it? The answer is yes. Obviously, it's always yes, an emphatic, joyful yes. No matter how bereft I feel, it cannot shake that answer. We have had so much fun together, and I get to keep all of the love that they gave me in their lifetimes safe within my memories. And one day, when I'm ready, I will do it all over again. The love of an animal to me is one of the very best parts of being alive. Your checklist. I cannot believe I've gotten through this script without crying. I don't even know what the awards are. I deserve an Applebee's gift card is what I deserve. So there you go. That is my best wisdom on this subject. No one is ever truly ready, but if you follow this checklist, you will be as ready as anyone can be. Have fun and make memories. Find a vet you trust. Go for your annual checkups to track progress. Accept the responsibility of eventual euthanasia. Understand the likely progression of their symptoms. Decide what you will and won't let them go through. Consult a quality of life checklist like the one here. Make a bucket list and have fun going through it. Make their final appointment, remembering that at-home services may have wait lists. Hold them through the very end. Grieve them with your whole heart, and remember that it was all worth it. This list is based on my own experiences, which are admittedly a lot more extensive than the average person, but it is still limited. So if you have any ideas to add to this list, I would love to hear them in the comments below. I would especially love to hear from anyone in the veterinary field who may have more experience and stronger opinions than I do. If you are listening to the audio or video version of this, definitely go browse the comments on the original text version of this article. There are so many good comments from people, especially horse owners. We had a lot of horse owners come out of the weeds, add in a lot of great stuff. In loving memory. I have always wanted to make a video version of this article, realizing that I could sort of document Brother's final stretch of life and share it with others motivated me to get it done. It has been the privilege of a lifetime having this dog beside me. I will look back on this video and remember I did the best I could for him and we left nothing undone. If his participation in today's video has helped you feel more prepared, I will tell you how you can pay him back. This dog is alive because one woman with a good heart and an open kennel walked into a high kill shelter and picked him. He got a second chance to live, and I owe that woman more than I can ever repay. She still runs her rescue, and they are struggling because all rescues are struggling right now, so I will drop links to donate to that rescue, which you can do in Brother's name if you feel so moved. If you don't have money to spare, liking and sharing her dogs on social media is still the best way to find them homes. They have transportation that goes all over the country, so you do not need to be in her immediate area to help. Other than that, adopt, don't shop, spay and neuter your pets. Promise us that when you are ready to grow your family, meet with a few senior animals who are so hard to place but so easy to love, and share this article with other pet lovers, especially younger folks who could use a little hand-holding through a time that will be very sad, but also very beautiful. Go on, share this with someone. Ruin their day, I dare you. Buddy, you look dead already. You're scaring everybody. Thanks for sticking with us and trusting us to talk about this very important, very painful topic. I really hope that you'll agree that it was worth it. And now it's time to feed this guy lunch, which we're going to do one kibble at a time because that's the way he wants it. So with that, bitches out. Hi, can I help you? Yeah. All right. Everyone else, see we're good? Come here. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mom. Mom, you want to say hi? Hello. Baby. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. What a good girl you are, baby. My pretty baby. Sunny, hi. Oh, were you neglected? Did I shut you out of a room? For 2.5 hours? Oh, the length of a full feature film. That's unacceptable. Seniors are great. Seniors are the best. Who wouldn't want a cute little baby like this? Milk bones for everyone.